in the middle of October is actually Election Day in New Jersey.
It's a special election, kind of a strange election, but a special one.
Let's see. We've got Cory Booker on the left there, mayor of Newark, New Jersey, the Democrat running for the U.S. Senate against former mayor of Bogota, New Jersey, Steve Lonigan, and Tea Party favorite. Now, a couple of months ago, it looked like Cory Booker had this thing totally locked up, but polls indicate that this race is tightening. And could anything happen tomorrow? Let's bring in the experts.
All right, political analyst Steve Adubato and Basil Smikle. Nice to have you both here.
Good to be here.
Is anybody going to show up to vote tomorrow?
14 people.
Oh, no, there's got to be a lot of interest. I hear it on the radio all the time, seriously.
Well, there's a lot of interest, but remember, there was a national network correspondent who's supposed to know politics on another network, a lesser network, yesterday, who said, make sure everybody gets out to vote on Tuesday for the special election. He said it 4 times, and you know who I'm talking about.
Well, in fairness to him, it's weird to have it on a Wednesday.
Yeah, but that's the point. The point is, when this election was set for the Wednesday, the campaigns are responsible, we in the media are responsible, but the vast majority of people who were questioned as to whether they're going to vote in this election, they said, sure, Tuesday. They're confused. People have to remember, it is not today, it is tomorrow, Wednesday, and that's a big challenge for people.
Right. Basil, who do you think is going to win?
You know, I still think Cory Booker is going to win. I know the numbers have tightened over the last couple of days. I think the last poll had him up only 10 points.
Which poll?
Who knows?
It was Monmouth. Another one had him 20, another one had him 8. But I'll tell you what, those polls I think are tricky because it's a Wednesday, and doesn't that confuse things?
It does confuse things, but I still think Cory's got the best shot here. I think, you know, there's been an attempt to tie Lonigan to what's going on nationally. I don't even think that matters so much. Cory's such a rock star, not only mostly out of New York State, out of New Jersey, but I think the fact of the matter is he's going to win it.
You know, you talked about New York State yesterday. There was a lot of talk about where Cory Booker lives, and you know,
where's he live? In Jersey, right?
Well, in the media, we've heard things like he's got an apartment in New York City, and maybe he doesn't live in Jersey, in Hoboken. I mean, yesterday that was brought up.
Lonigan went to where he lives,
and
where he votes out of, and there are some people in Newark who are Cory Booker's enemies, who of course give Steve Lonigan aid and comfort and say, well, we never see him in the neighborhood. The reality is this: Cory Booker votes in that neighborhood. Cory Booker has a legal address. The problem is Cory Booker travels. The problem is Cory Booker is a national figure, and Lonigan's trying to make him a celebrity out of California. And he said a great quote: California doesn't need a 3rd senator. It's a good one-liner, but Cory Booker lives in Newark.
Okay, but it is gaining traction. This whole, you mentioned rock star.
Yeah.
It's starting to, people they don't want a rock star in the Senate.
Greg.
They don't want a rock star, and you know, a lot of folks in Newark were really upset. Whether it's spilled milk over Sharp James still to this day, who knows? But there are a lot of people in Newark didn't really have it like the fact that he's this rock star and that he's been traveling so much. But at the end of the day, he brought a lot of attention to Newark, where people around the country maybe had overlooked it. He brought a lot of money into the city, and I think he left it better than when he got there.
I don't disagree, but here's the double-edged sword. In one of the polls, the Monmouth poll, what they said, Greg and Rosanna, almost 50% of the people who were polled said, yeah, Cory Booker's a smart, intelligent guy. We think he can make a good United States Senator. But 50% of the people said, we believe he's less interested in representing in New Jersey and more interested in national office.
You know what? You could say that about any of the politicians.
Agreed. But here's the only problem for Cory Booker. It has been said about him from day one. He's been on this show many times. We always talk about him as a national rock star, not a New Jersey rock star, not a Newark rock star. And that is a rap on him. You could say, well, that's a good thing. The problem in Jersey is you've got to be seen as a Jersey guy first. That's always been Cory's problem.
Well, I think after the election,
think he wins. I want to be clear.
And I think after the election is where we're really going to see a change in Cory. I think he puts his head down. Like, he could be the guy that's on every Sunday talk show.
He will be.
And I think he will be at some point, but I think he's got to put his head down and learn the ropes of that house.
It'll be the Hillary Clinton playbook. When she got to the Senate, she wasn't a star. She kind of like hung back.
That's right.
And then whammo, she ran for president.
Right.
And
she did her job. And everybody knew that she was taking this as a stepping stone, right?
When I was in the office
but she was paying attention to basics first.
But to Greg's point, she did her job. She took care of constituent services. She did not go out public and have speeches about everything, opinions on everything, where people could say, obviously she's running for president. She took care of the business of being a United States Senator first. And that would be great advice for Cory Booker.
Well, Cory Booker's not there yet. We got to reemphasize there is momentum on the Lonigan side.
Yes, there is.
These polls have tightened. He says he has internal internal polls. Anything can happen in politics, and that would be a real stunner.
Only the most motivated voters are going to come out, and I think you'll still have some Tea Party folks that are motivated to elect Lonegan, but I do think Corey has the most motivated voters in the state. And there's actually there's going to be some history made if he wins. He'll only be the 4th African-American elected senator in this country's history.
But there will be history if Steve Lonegan pulls this off, because he started almost 30 points behind. Yeah. Let's say this about Steve Lonegan. Some people think his views are way out there, but I'll say this. He's never changed his views. He's never altered his views. And people, whether they like him or not, you know where he stands.
Steve Adubato, Basil Smikle, always nice having you guys in here, giving your perspective on the election.
If you live in New Jersey, polls open, we think, at 6 in the morning, and they close at 8 tomorrow night.